Welcome to the first of the pre-tool making videos for the 2.0 chain making course that we're going to do. In this video, we're going to make a spring fuller. So I've got 36 inches of 3/8 inch round stock that we're going to use to make into this spring fuller. This is just mild steel, so these will last for a while, but they do eventually wear out. Luckily, they're pretty easy to make. So what I want is to measure off roughly enough that I'm going to be able to put a bend here and have a good length of steel along the face of my anvil. So I'm just going to put my finger there, keep an eye on where that is, slide it into the fire and heat this up. This is not one where I feel a need for real exact measurements, so I'm not going to go in and center punch anything ahead of time in order to have it be real specific. All right, we've got our steel good and hot. The first bend I'm going to make when I do this is just bending the whole thing over on itself. Should just drop that in the Pritchel hole. Bend it down. Hammer it nice and tight. And this is going to form this part of the spring fuller. So we're going to come in then, bend it back on itself, and then we'll bend these legs out. All right, we've got it hot. I'm going to come here, bend this around, back over on itself. What I want to do is make sure that it's going to fit in my hardy hole. I've got a 1-inch hardy hole, so this steel should not have any problems with that. I'm good there. I'm actually going to wind up having to come in and widen this out a little bit once I get everything shaped. For now, I want to take another heat, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to bend this leg out on the next heat, and then we'll work on the top bar. All right, we've got this hot. I'm going to bring it over here. Just kind of set it in the anvil to where I want it. Grab it with a pair of tongs. Just bend that down. Chisel here. Carefully kind of knock that down in there a little bit. What I want to do is spread this out so that it sits a little more securely in my hardy hole and isn't going to wobble around while I'm using it. So I'll spread it out a little bit that way. I'll come in here, do the same thing, spread these open a little bit this direction. There we go. That looks pretty reasonable. So we've got the bottom completed. We've got this so it sits reasonably in the hardy hole. The next thing we need to do is come in, flatten out a section to make our spring portion, and then bend the rest of the bar around the top. So let's get it hot. We're going to do that right in this area above where it sits in the hardy hole, and flatten that out. All right, we've got it good and hot. We're going to bring it over here to the anvil, and all I'm going to do is flatten out a section of this. Put a coal rake back in here so it doesn't ring quite so much on us. I don't want to take it too thin. I'm taking it to maybe half its original thickness. Want a nice long flat section with easy transitions in and out. We'll take another heat on this and we'll shape this into a circle around the horn and then finish bending things into shape. So let's get it hot. All right, we've got this hot. Let's bring it over to the anvil. I'm just going to kind of form this around here. Go back and forth a little bit, shaping it. I'm going to take one more heat on this. I'd really like to bend it a little bit right back here and seat that back a little farther on itself. So let's get it hot and make that bend. All right, we've got this hot. I don't want to bend any of this section. I just want to bend that little bit there. So I'm actually going to come over here to the quench tub. Let's cool some of this off. We'll just go right into the water. Get my heat nice and isolated. Just working it back a little bit. That's looking a lot better. Now I need to do a little more shaping here in the eye and along the arms in order to get those lined up. So we'll put it back in and heat that up one more time. All right, we've got this good and hot. It's getting a little warm, so I'm going to start holding it with tongs. I'm just going to close these up. We've got just a little bit of space in there. Let's try and make sure everything's good and flat first. Keep them centered on top of each other. Actually take a bar, kind of run it down there while it's hot. So there we go. Our top bar is a little longer than we need. I'll go in, not on the video, and cut that shorter. I do like to make sure that let's quench this actually, so we're safe with it. As I was saying, I do like to make sure that my top bar is longer than the bottom bar. It makes it very easy when you're taking steel to lift up on the bottom bar and slide it back. If the bottom bar is longer, then you wind up having to use your hand to pick this up, and that can be dangerous when these get hot. But there is a perfectly serviceable, if of limited lifespan, spring swage. We'll be using this to define the eye on the hook. Thanks.